As promised, I'm going to spend the next few minutes going through the strategy that the endowment fund managers use to grind out consistently good returns that outperform everyone else in any market, especially those markets that are erratic and volatile. And at the end of this video, you'll know exactly what the endowment funds do and how you can leverage that and do it yourself. Now let me start by explaining what an endowment fund is. An endowment fund is a pool of money, a financial asset typically held by a nonprofit. It consists almost entirely of donations from supporters. In this particular case, I want to look at the endowment funds of large Ivy League universities. Alumni make donations to the university to help support it, and these universities invest those donations in an effort to generate even more revenue that the university then spends to help pay the university's expenses. It's important to know what a university endowment fund is because these funds have been around for decades, through good markets and bad. And by trial and error, the managers of these funds have discovered a few tips and tricks for investing along the way that we can all benefit from. To start, look at what the stock market did from the low of 2008 through 2019. It was the best bull market in history. And you know the saying, all boats go up in a rising tide. That's what makes a self-managed portfolio possible. But zoom out and look at the market's history from 1900 to 2019. There are idle, erratic markets that last 10 plus years. And consider this. Most advisors are in their mid-40s. Let's call it age 45. If we do the math, they were born in 1975, and assuming they graduated high school at age 18 and spent 4 years in college, they graduated college at age 22 in 1987. If we assume the industry average, most of these people settled into roles as financial professionals at age 30. In 2005, that means they lived the good years of 2006 and 2007, but they also lived the downturn of 2008, which by March of 2009 hit its low, only to rebound into the greatest bull market in history. Now think about that for a second. The only thing they know is a bull market that crashes for 8 months only to roar back into an even better market. Today's managers have never seen an idle and erratic market, and that explains why their mantra is to buy the dips. Only a sailor with experience with headwinds knows how to sail in a storm. And likewise, only a money manager with experience with idle and erratic markets knows how to navigate those 10-plus year periods. But notice that an erratic market doesn't go straight down. There are ups and downs. It turns out that there are a lot of opportunities in idle markets, but there are also a lot of pitfalls, and that's why it's hard to make money in an idle market. Now remember, the best investors aren't individuals, they're endowments. The S&P 500 has averaged a little over 8% over the last 100 plus years. Pretty good, right? Well, look at what the university endowments have done over that same time frame. They've consistently taken less risk and gotten consistently better returns. So how have they managed to do it? What's their secret? Well, it's surprisingly simple, but tested to be tried and true. They strive for consistent returns year in and year out by incorporating absolute return strategies into their portfolios. And we'll talk about exactly what that means in a moment. But look at some of the names of the people that have endorsed and followed this very same strategy. As self-managed investors, all we have to do to get the very same results is diversify our portfolio the same way the endowments do. That's their secret. It's simply this. Make sure you have half your money in buy and hold broad market investments like the S&P 500, and make sure you have the other half in absolute return investments that give consistent returns without the risk of going down. Now, this is not a market timing strategy. You aren't moving investments around as you try to guess what the markets are going to do. This is a set it and forget it strategy. This kind of diversification positions us to take advantage of the ups of the market because remember, we have half our money in a buy and hold S&P investment. But it also positions us to make money in down markets because we have half our money in absolute return investments. This is a strategy that is especially suited to perform better than a standard market portfolio during erratic and volatile markets that, as we saw, often last 10 plus years. Endowment funds and endowment investors diversify their portfolio by management style. They have half their money in an S&P 500 growth strategy, and they have half of their money in absolute return strategies. This kind of diversification allows them to maximize the return of their investments in good times and protect their portfolio in bad times. And as individual self-managed investors, we can scale their strategy to fit our portfolios. For most of us, we don't need to make a big shift. You probably already have investments that fit the S&P 500 growth strategy. You just need to add absolute returns to your investments. And this kind of strategy will even help you get more income from your portfolio in retirement. And next time, I'll show you exactly how. Until then,